Welcome to this course on curved facades. In this first session, we're again going to use t-values and parameter space to create an arc that will generate a slab for a canopy. In this arc, we're going to create tangent to the two sides of our building and connect the two endpoints. We also want to create this arc up at the first guest room floor, as it'll be a canopy above our lobby area. So once we create the arc, we'll use our slab node and create an actual building object, a slab that will be the canopy. And at the same time, we'll create some slabs for each of our floors. So I'm going to start by selecting a coordinate system node, drag and drop that onto the graph. I'm going to rename this node as the canopy CS, and I'm actually going to call it CS1, as we'll have to do a second one. And these are going to give us the endpoints of the arc, as well as a direction. So our technique will be by parameter along curve. We're going to create this at each end of our first guest room arc. So I'm going to link my curve input back to my arc GR node. However, if you remember, the arc GR nodes are a list, represents all the guest room floors, and I only need the first arc in that list. So I could use that dot first function, or I could simply use my indexing. I'll just put a 0 in square brackets, and that indicates only the first member of the list. And for the t-value, I'm going to put 0, and that'll be the start point of the arc. Now that I have that set up, I'm going to copy it and paste to select the CS2 node, canopy CS2. The curve will be the same, but I'm going to change the t-value to 1. And you should now see two coordinate systems at each end of that canopy arc. And I can use those coordinate systems now to generate the arc that will define the canopy. So I'm going to select my arc node, drag and drop that onto the graph. And I'll rename that as arc canopy. And for the technique, I'm going to use this tangent direction endpoint. Since I placed coordinate systems at the endpoints of those arcs, they will have a direction that is perpendicular to the arc, which will also be tangent to the curve that we want to create. So for the start tangent, I'm going to link that back to my first coordinate system. But a tangent is a direction. If we hover over that, we can see the required input is a direction. And so I'm going to use my dot operator to get the Y direction from that node. And the endpoint will simply be the second coordinate system. Now you'll notice it created that arc in the other direction. So there is an option here which allows me to reverse the tangent. I'm going to pin that onto the node and go ahead and check that. Now I get the arc created in the direction I wanted. So I've got the construction set up. I'm going to go ahead and record those transactions. And the next step will be to now use that to create the slab. I'm going to come back to the node types, and I'm going to come under the building designer nodes, and I'm going to select the slab node. So this will generate an actual building element with data group information on it. It can be tracked through the data group system. It would have family and part on it, so if I cut a section through it, it's going to re-symbolize the same as any other slab I would create with Building Designer. So I'm going to rename this as the slab canopy. Different methods or techniques for creating slabs. For a unusual shape such as this, probably our best bet is going to be from a closed curve or from a surface. So we'll go ahead and do the offset from closed curve. Now I can select a catalog item, and that's a pick list. So I select the slab catalog type, and then I can simply select one of the items within there. I'm going to just go ahead and select this example slab concrete. But now I need a closed curve to offset. And I don't actually have a closed curve at this point. I do have this arc, and of course we have the guest room arc. What we need to do is combine those into a closed curve. So I'm going to select the curve node, drag and drop that onto my graph. We'll call this curve canopy. And we're going to use the composite curves. So in other words, just a list of curves that it's going to chain together. So I'm going to link this first to the arc canopy curve that we just created. Let's go ahead and I'm going to just open this up. I'm going to put this in curly brackets and create a list here. So the second arc I need, and I can just start typing here, is that arc GR. But again, I only want that first arc, so we're going to do the same thing and use the indexing. So 0 is always the first element in a list, or the first member of a list. So I'll go ahead and apply that. And if I select that node, it'll highlight the object in the model, and I can see there I've got that closed shape. So now that I have a closed shape, I can link that into my closed curve to offset input. And then I simply need to give it the distance or the depth of the slab. So I'm working in feet. I'm going to put 0.5. That would be 6 inches. Or you could do 150 millimeters. And you can see now we've got that building designer element slab in the model. I'm going to go ahead and record those transactions. Now, building elements can slow the model down a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead on that slab canopy. I'm going to right-click and select the deferred dynamics on that. Now, we already have closed curves. We created floor plates in one of the earlier sessions for each of the floors so that we could track area on those floor plates. But we could also use those closed shapes or closed curves to generate slabs in the same way. So I'm going to take the slab canopy node, just right-click and copy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste a second one. And I'm going to call this slab floor. We'll use the same catalog item. We're still going to offset from a closed curve. The only thing we have to do is change the curve. So I can right-click on my wire there, and I'm going to disconnect that wire from the curve canopy, and I'm going to come back and find those floor plates. I can see I've got plate lobby. So that's the first one. And once I connect that, we can see there's a floor plate down there at the lobby level. But I want to do all the floors. So I'm just going to select my guest room plates and link those up as well. And it'll just keep adding those to the list as I connect those. Do one more back to the penthouse plates. And zoom in there, we can see now we've got these slabs rather than just the shape there. And in fact, I might want to take those shapes and turn off their visibility and just go ahead and record my transactions. So we've now added all those floor plates in. So now that we've kind of got that base there, the canopy, we're going to build a curved facade, which is going to enclose an atrium on the concave side of our building here. So we'll do that in the next session.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.